Hello! A while ago I shared a video where I showed my interpretation of how to get the look of vintage Japanese bunka style doll face painting. Now the thing about bunka style dolls is that they're painted on completely flat faces. There is no lip or nose definition like pose dolls have. Now people asked how to transfer that idea to fashion dolls and get a pose doll look. So I said I would make a video where I try to paint a fashion doll face that way, and now I am finally getting around to it. This is a Jakks Pacific Winx face. I chose that because they have no eye definition at all. So that should make it pretty easy to do the stamped and quickly splashed on paint of a pose doll style face. Now I'll also say I don't think I've painted a face like this since the video where I painted the pumpkins, and I'll put a link below so you can see what I'm forgetting that even I said I was doing as I try to paint this. Okay, now the main thing, at least to me, the way to get the look of this kind of face is that the black area, at least again, this is my interpretation, I don't know how it's actually painted, but this is how it looks like it's painted to me, is stamped on, and then everything else is painted on top of that. So I made a stamp by cutting a makeup sponge to be kind of oblong. Now in the bunka doll style paint tutorial, I said it didn't matter if it was round or not because you're just going to keep turning it around and around to make the blob that you would turn into the eyes be round. But on at least this example pose doll that I have, and I'm not even sure, I cannot see the viewfinder, view screen on the camera, so I'm sorry if this is really unhelpful. Anyway, this basic eye shape is a little more oblong, so I'm going to leave my sponge oblong and just stamp it on straight instead of turning it around to make a circle. So I am putting a little bit of black paint on my palette, which I've had for years and years, and I probably should make a new palette, but it's just a piece of paper that is so covered with acrylic now that it's probably pretty waterproof. So I dab the paint under that. Yeah, I thought that might be a problem since this is the one that I used years ago. It does have a lot of dried paint on the end. So I probably should cut that off, but I'm not going to because, like I said, the whole thing about this is that it is so slapdash and fast. So, and if I don't like the way it turns out, I'm wiping it all off and not showing you this video. So we need to stamp this so we get really dark, basic eye shape. Oh, and her hair looks like this because I set it on pipe cleaners to get a pipe cleaner curl, and I did not want to take it down before making this painting video because I did not want to completely crush her hair when it was out of the pipe cleaners. So I will be taking her hair down before I do the final reveal. And as with painting any doll, you're going to get the sides, and I know I just bumped the camera, sorry. You're going to get the sides uneven, but like I said, what I find charming about these is that they are so uneven looking. So let me put my cap back on my black. Alright, and we're going to follow, well, I'm going to follow the doll faces that I have just for reference. If you see, these two dolls are different size, but their faces are actually painted almost exactly the same. So you can easily go online and find hundreds of pictures of all the different, sometimes completely unbelievable way that pose doll eyes are painted. But they look to me to all start with the same basic technique of stamping out the eye shape and then going over it with other colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is paint the white. Which, the way I painted the Bunka style pumpkins before, when I painted white at all, it was off to the side of the eyes. Now this is the difference with pose doll eyes and some Bunka doll eyes, when I did further research, is that the Bunka dolls I painted beside, but pose dolls tend to be painted in. And it's really just a little triangle blob at the side. Again, fast and loose is the way to go. So these have a bit of blue next to the white. In a triangle on the up and side. Alright, then where these have a big swash of blue for the iris, I'm doing brown because I believe there are not enough brown-eyed dolls in the world. But you can use whatever color you want because, like I said, that's the fun thing about pose dolls, is some of them get really wild colors. Alright, so it is just a swoop on the bottom of each eye. And I just stuck my hand on top of my paint dropper. Because the camera is pretty much where I usually sit, I'm a little cramped here, so that's why I'm doing things like knocking into the camera and sticking my hand in paint, when I honestly swear I don't usually do that. So, the next thing is she has a little bit of eyeshadow. And actually, if you look at these, there is a line of gray at the top, which looks like it may have been stamped in a lighter gray before the black was stamped. But I'm not going to do that. They both kind of have that. Or it could just be that the black stamp took a few tries, took a few go-overs to get. Or maybe they actually painted gray over that. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm just trying to do this fast and I'm getting distracted. So there's just and really the way I'm going over this multiple times is not true to how I think these things are made. It's just my paint is not opaque as I thought it would be. It really should be just one quick dash of the paintbrush for every color you put on. But I'm not good at that. I really do want to learn to be faster and looser with painting. Also, both of these dolls have a dark green line under their eye, which I forgot to get paint for, so hold on. Yeah, it looks like the dark green was painted, actually. If you look at them, you can tell the order they're painted in. It looks like the white was painted first, then the light blue, then the slash of blue, and then the green. So, I'm still kind of doing it in the right order. I think the brushes they used were probably bigger than this, too. Okay, then it looks like the lashes were painted on. So I get my black again. Just a few few drops out because I don't want much paint. I don't even know what size paintbrush I'm using for this. It's pretty old and beat up. It's like 3-odd. So I am not good at this kind of lashes, but if you look at a lot of these original dolls, the people who painted them really weren't either. Swoop, 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 swoop. Corrective swoop. And the lashes come out of both sides of the eyes on a lot of these. Apologies if I'm holding this where you can't see it. Now, I keep forgetting, you get some variation in thickness of the line if you start with a little more pressure and then let off of it as you paint. So I did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I did one big swoopy one, and then a bunch of smaller ones. So you still know him. Hope I'm getting her in frame. Alright, so, and I probably will go through after I get the basic face done and clean up these spots in the bun. Like if I had taken more time cutting my sponge to make a stamp, or even gone to the craft store and bought I think they sell round sponge stampers anyway, on sticks. You could just stamp it on. That would have helped a lot. Alright, so where these tend to go really wild is in the eye dots, and I don't think I'm going to go that wild. I'm just going to keep it fairly basic. Actually, I'm going to start with white. Actually, I'm going to start with the pink, because they're dotted on the inner corner of the eyes with pink, like the tear dots. And I am going to use my Rapidograph Speedo print. I'm not even sure what this thing actually is, but I use it. I use this for dotting, and I also use straight pins, because I don't have a real dotting kit. You can also use the back of a paintbrush if you want a huge dot. So there's that. And then I'm going to put a white dot in the eye, and then maybe see about doing other odder colors that aren't just dots. Haven't decided yet. I really didn't put much thought into doing this video. I just knew I wanted to do it because I had said for years I would do it, and I finally got this head adapted to put on a live body. So we're going to put the dot in the eye. You see I didn't have enough paint on it. My white paint is a little dried out, I admit. But just think of that as saying that your materials don't need to be perfect. Of course, if you don't like the way this turns out, if you think I've completely ruined this doll, that is fine. If you think that this doll head was given to me by very generous Eric McNeil to see what I would do with it. So I am just one of a chain of owners of this doll, who I believe probably thrifted. So, basic eyes. Now I have some bright green that I'm going to go ahead and use just to be very colorful. Make sure I don't stick my arm in the paint. Some on the end of my brush. Okay, I'm going to do some lines. Those are real uneven. This is common as I am not left-handed. I'm really trying to learn to paint the left side of the doll first, because then I can make it match with the right side, whereas if I paint the right side first, the left side is going to be terrible. Okay, so that's some basic eyes. Like I said, I will clean them up and seal them later. Now the eyebrows. Now, eyebrows are always so hard to get right, but if you really look at these, they're not right. So, another thing about eyebrows on pose dolls is they can be pretty much any size or shape you want to make them. So let's see if I can take my advice and paint the left side first. See, it looks like they were painted from the center out, so I will turn her over. And that's not, sorry for bumping the camera, that's not a great pose doll shape. You see it a little more triangular, but I'm just trying. Now the thing about painting directly on vinyl head is you can let the paint dry a little bit and then take a toothpick or a straight pin or something and scrape off the little edges of the bits of the paint that you didn't get feathered out the way you wanted it. Not going for perfect, have to remind myself of that. But like I said, it's hard. I had to use a Dremel to open her neck up enough to get her onto the live body, and her head is held on with the bread tag method. So I won't be surprised if me handling her like that makes the bread tag break and her head falls off in this video. If that happens, apologies in advance. Again, I'm spending way too much time on these eyebrows, because eyebrows always vex me. And the point of these is to just dash them off, but I don't have the experience of the people who painted these, so that's my excuse. Alright, now, lips. This is a really fluorescent orange, and that was a very common for lips. I don't have that. I'm going to use the same pink, which this actually is a black light reactive pink, so that's always fun. I know that not a lot of people shine black lights on their dolls like I do, but it's fun. Okay. This doll does have fairly well defined lips. And I have not figured out a way to paint pose doll lips that look right quickly. They may have also been stamps, I don't know. And yes, this paint is a little thick and lumpy. I should have thinned it quite a bit, but I didn't. So actually I might have to edit the video while this dries before I can do another coat. Yeah, very lumpy. That's the thing about any doll you paint. You can take the paint off just as easily as the original paint was taken off and do over again. I'm not saying I'm going to do her over again right now, but you never know about the future. Alright, now you can see these two dolls The small one has a light reflection painted on her lips. The larger one doesn't. I like the light reflection look. Sometimes it's just done as a few dots though, and I think I'm going to do it that way. A few dashes. Hopefully, though, it won't look like it's supposed to be teeth. If it looks like it's supposed to be teeth, I'll cover it back up. Okay, and they do have blush, which I'm going to do with I think their blush might have been a blast of airbrushing, but it might not. I'm not sure. I'm going to do it with some pastel that I already have on the cotton swab. Oh, that's not very visible, is it? There's a really fluorescent color. All right, that's what I'm doing for now. Now let me go take her hair out and seal things, and like I said, I can't promise I won't repaint those lips, but I'll try not to do it right now. And let me go see how she looks as a finished doll.